Welcome to the episode, guys, of Talking Spine. Ethan and I are very proud to announce our guest here. Ethan, who do we have on the podcast this week?
Today we have Dr. Tayal. Thank you for coming on. Dr. Tayal is both a professor here and a DC, as well as he has an MBA and he is a soon-to-be diplomate in chiropractic philosophy. Dr. Tayal was also a former president of the Scotland Chiropractic College and was also the department chair for Life West. So thank you for coming on today. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
This is fun. Good work, boys.
Oh yeah. Everyone that we bring on the podcast, we just kind of talk about why chiropractic and why this profession is so awesome, and like how you never lost your fire throughout your whole career. Obviously, you had a very long career; it's still continuing, and now you're here at Sherman College, pouring back into students like us and helping change the world. So we just want to get your input on how you got introduced to it and kind of a little bit of your journey.
Mm-hmm. Sure. It's funny because I don't know if you can see me, but I identify as young, 43-year-old single male from Canada of Indian background. And why is that relevant? Indian background because my parents immigrated to Canada, North America, in the 1970s. And if you know anything about that culture, it means that I was born, I like to say bred. I was bred to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Right? Like I was just, that's what it was. Like, And so that was the full-on pathway. And I bought into that. I wanted to do orthopedic surgery because I was specific and sexy and all that stuff. And it's funny because I did my co-op placement, like my high school job placement at the hospital. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Saw the coolest surgeries.
Yeah.
But hated going there every day. And I didn't really realize that, but I would pause every moment before, every day, the moment before I walked in the double doors, I was just like, don't want to go. And I went in anyways. And I'm like at my dream job placement and I'm hating life. Because I'm still bred to be a medical doctor, I don't even register that. I'm still full on pre-med. So then I go to university and there's a career fair and I'm in the dorms and all of the people in the dorms are going to the career fair. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I might as well go with them. I'll go check out the med schools. And at that moment, I met my first chiropractor. And I was there to find the med school that I was going to. And I love this because in chiropractic, we have the saying by B.J. Palmer. He says, you never know how far-reaching something you may think, say, or do today may affect the lives of millions tomorrow.
Wow.
Massive. So the obvious chiropractic connotation with that is the adjustment. Now, you guys are both in my toggle class, which is amazing upper cervical technique. We heard an awesome story today
awesome.
about an intern, 10th quarter, 11th quarter, who gave somebody their first adjustment and completely changed their life.
Crazy.
Right? And what I love about that story is that he was talking to somebody else. The prospective patient said, I think you can help me. And then he did. And not only did he change her life, but of everybody that she interfaces with.
Yeah.
And he's going to get book solid because of it. Because he's going to do that again and again and again.
Yeah.
He's just a kid. He's not a kid. He's like a 20-year-old.
He's on his way to being a chiropractor.
We love Henry.
Yeah.
We do love Henry. Shout out Henry. So that's the cool stuff, right? And but there's also a thing you can say that can change those lives, and there's also a thought, and it all begins with a thought. That adjustment began with a thought. So when I met this chiropractor, Dr. Martha Collins, shout out Dr. Martha Collins, she got me like hook, line, and sinker. It was so well done, and this is why I love the art of communication.
Yep.
Because it's not about what you know, it's about how you say it and how you can reach people, which I think that's why you boys are doing this podcast. Good on you. And she's like, oh, pre-med, I got this. And like, she totally smoked me. It was so good. She says, you know how the spine houses and protects the nervous system? I said, yeah. Like, who doesn't know that? Pre-med, right? Who doesn't know that? And she's like, well, you know that the spine can misalign, right? I'm like, yeah, who doesn't know that? I didn't know that. But when you say it like that to a cocky medical type, right?
Yeah.
They have to acknowledge and agree.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have any humility, then they're like, oh,
Maybe they don't.
Yeah, when I talk to professionals, maybe I don't exactly. When I talk to professionals, I'll just do the same shtick, but I'll just add one piece, which is as you already know.
That's right. I remember you talked about this in class.
And then you just continue on with your basic spine housing. So the spine housing protects the nervous system. The spine can misalign, right? Like, yeah. Well, then don't you think that if the spine misaligns, it can affect the function of the nervous system?
Boom.
Boom. What'd you just say?
Open your brain a little bit.
And angry. And how did I not know this?
Yeah.
Like I did know this. I knew that the spine housing protects the nervous system. I know that accidents and injuries occur and that can affect the alignment of the spine. How did I not think that through? Why had I never heard this before?
Why didn't I deduce it?
Why didn't I deduce it? Logic. So, that's the adjustment that changed my life. And it was awesome because it would just like sit there like a like permeating in my brain for a few years, and it was cold that day. I remember it was cold, so I was leaving the building. I'm like, oh, too cold. Maybe I'll go back to talk to those chiropractors. They were kind of cool. And I was talking to them for hours and hours and hours. And it was not like, okay, that was the moment, but it was in there, and then the rest, as they say, is history.
Okay.
So pretty great stuff there. It's that idea that the spine does misalign. It affects the function of the nervous system, and you're better off without this thing called a subluxation, which is what I just described. Yep.
So did you at that same time were you being introduced like to chiropractic care? Like had you received chiropractic care before that? Or?
Never, because I was bred to be an MD. I'm like, oh, chiropractors make money. Okay, so that's cool. At least that's an option.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't seek her out for care for 2 more years after that.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that was my first year of undergrad, and I sought her out in third year. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to finally check this out.
And then, so what was your thought when you got your first actual adjustment? Like,
it was okay. Like it was a standard chiropractic adjustment, the ones that you're probably most familiar with. And it was fine. I was 23 years old. I didn't really have any symptomology, so I was like, I'm going to make this number up. And I was probably functioning at a 87% or a 91%, and took me up to a higher number, but I didn't really experience that.
Mm-hmm.
What I really experienced was the idea of chiropractic, and what I really experienced was the vibrancy of that office.
Okay.
Right, the difference between my experience at the hospital and going in there, holy moly, these people were on fire, and they were in love, and it was just and they all had stories like the one I just shared. It was just fantastic. Okay, I think I want to do this.
Okay.
I think we've talked about plenty of stories too on the podcast, and talking with Connor and Nick, and just our first episode too. It's I think this is the coolest profession in the world, because you never know like what that person is dealing with walking into your doors.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing you guys pour into us, it just keeps us going too. And I'm just really grateful to be here and to be at this university. Like, I know you talked about how good Sherman has been, with it continuously improving.
Yeah, and all schools go up and down. All schools go up and down. I'm going to say this on the record that Sherman wasn't as good when I went to school at Life West.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't mean that disparagingly at all. And Life West was absolute aces when I was there. Grateful for that experience. And then from the sidelines, as a fan, I just watched Sherman get better and better and better and better and better, to the point where it's like, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm really happy that you guys are here. And it's also cool because I've been here for 2 years now. And if you saw me 2 years ago, I wasn't this dynamic. I wasn't this comfortable. Now I kind of know my role. And we, if I may be so frank, we're having a good time.
Oh, we're having a great time.
Yeah,
Great
I enjoy learning from you very much.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to learn more.
I enjoy you boys in class.
Appreciate it. So let's get into some questions, maybe for some students looking at or whatever it is. Looking back, what do you wish is something you knew, or some things you knew about chiropractic school that might help the current student or prospective student?
Well, I'll tell you this. I did know this, thankfully, because I was told this, but I don't think enough students know this, is that chiropractic is learned on evenings and weekends. We are handcuffed by the institutions that regulate us. And if we had it our way, we would teach things differently with different allocations of time.
Yeah.
I can say that, and it's unfortunate that's the reality. So what do we do about it? Well, we do whatever we can politically, and then in the meantime, we do whatever we can to learn the craft. I learn my chiropractic on evenings and weekends, just like everybody else. And that's okay. I mean, we do a pretty good job at this school. We do a better job than any other school. But if you want to be at the level, then do that. The other thing that I wish I knew is that there's kind of 3 prevailing types of artistic models in chiropractic. There's what you call a full spine segmental. It's that more traditional type that most of your listeners will be familiar with, where we're, put you on your side or on your stomach, we move a bone, may or may not make a noise, and call it a day. That's cool stuff. There's another model that's upper cervical specific. For those of you that don't know what that means, upper cervical, it means the top of the neck. It's where the skull becomes the spine and the brain becomes the brainstem and spinal cord, along with cranial nerves, proprioception, money area from a neurological perspective. That's what I specifically focus in, upper cervical technique. So that's model 2. And model 3 is a tonal, where you're thinking the spine's a guitar string, and it's tethered on the top and it's tethered on the bottom. And if there's misalignments in the spine, then that can affect the tension and the tone of the nervous system. And so it's more of a global tonal based approach. That's number 3. I wish I knew that I wanted to learn one of each of the 3.
Okay.
And if I did, which I finally did, but I didn't know that in the early days, and I'm making this number up too, you're better than something like 96, 97% of the profession out there.
Mm-hmm. I can just listen to this guy talk all day. He just explained those 3 types of chiropractic techniques real quick.
So building on that then, what are some things outside of the classroom that us students can pursue to ensure that when we graduate, we're confident not just in our knowledge, but more so our practice and the hands-on part of chiropractic?
I love the question. I love the question. So, I mean, you touched on it. First one is public speaking / communication.
Yeah.
Okay, so on campus they have Simply Speaking Club, which is modeled after Toastmasters International. Which, if you don't have a Toastmasters club on campus or a public speaking club, then go seek out Toastmasters International. They're all over the world. They help you with your public speaking in 3 ways. 1 is prepared speeches, 2 is impromptu, and 3 is evaluative. Evaluative, that's right, giving feedback in a positive, constructive way so that people will actually do what you suggest instead of being a jerk about it. What a concept. How about this? Chiropractors are right about a bunch of stuff, but who cares if we're not effective communicators about it? We'll do that in Q4, right? We'll have a ton of fun with that, which is next quarter. So that's the first one. The second one is that technique stuff that I just said. It is available here on campus on lunch hours and evenings and weekends. You don't have to spend excessive money to learn this stuff. It's all available. Go home and get together with your friends and do palpation groups. And palpate each other and get your hands on as many people as possible in those 3 types of models. And then your crew is the key. We can't do this by ourselves. We obviously need people to develop our skills with, but accountability and support and wisdom. I have this thing where I make fun of the medical school people where they're like, look to the on opening day, on the first day of school, like, look to the left, look to the right. They do that in medical school. Like, one of you people aren't going to be here in 3 years. And I'm like, right? I do the same kind of joke. I'm like, look to the left, look to the right. One of you are going to be at each other's wedding. Like, you're going to be the best man or the bridesmaid or whatever at your bestie's wedding, or like, I do this morbid joke, like, one of you are carrying each other's casket or something. Too soon, right? But whatever. They're 20-year-olds, and I think it's funny. But it's beautiful because my best friends in the world are the people that I went to school with.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
I talk to them every Wednesday morning. Shout out Wednesday Wiseman. And we keep each other accountable. We make each other better. I'm in the best shape of my life because of them. It's fantastic. So those are the big ones.
Okay. And then I know you're a big businessman, so we get into a little bit of that. Yeah. So what are some mistakes that you see some chiropractors make early on in their practice, maybe even straight out of school? What are some financial mistakes or whatnot that you see chiropractors make pretty often that can be avoidable almost?
I love the question. First mistake is that they don't get into the business stuff until it's too late.
Yeah.
Right? Not worried about you two, worried about the student body in general. So that brings me to my job, because it's actually my job to help you with that, students. So call me anytime and I will help you get your business going. Financial literacy is a big problem. I wish that the student and therefore the graduating DC understands the financial burden and how to navigate student loans. I can help you with that as well. And then, this is there's a new phenomenon here on campus where the student interns have to bring 9 new patients in to graduate. And people are freaking out. And I'm not going to be a jerk about it. I understand why they're freaking out. It's the first time. They might be scared. They might be insecure. They might be confused. They might not be confident in their skills. That's all fine. That's our job to help you with that. And if we can get our reps in now, then all of a sudden it's not going to be scary. And if we can't get 9 in clinic, then what are we talking about in entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Right. So use that as an opportunity to get out of the comfort zone with the support that we provide, instead of waiting, phoning it in, and then having to do it when you actually have these bills to pay.
Yeah. I think it definitely teaches us to up and coming when we graduate. It's like, how do we operate under pressure?
Yeah.
I know me and Ethan, we usually prefer it just because, like, stakes are higher.
That's right.
Perform higher at a higher level. But I just wanted to ask you, just from my personal experience with screening events and stuff like that, like, what are the most common, I guess, like, comebacks people will say to chiropractic when it comes to, like, saying, hey, have you got your nervous system checked? Or how do you explain that to a person that, like, they look like they don't want anything to do with it, but then they say that one thing?
Yeah, I love the question. I don't do the, do you want to get your nervous system checked? I remember learning that when I was a student. And I would get all sorts of goofy answers, like just deflating what, or like, I don't got nerves, or I'm already nervous, or whatever. Yeah. Like, I don't like this at all. I don't like this. And I didn't do a ton of screenings, full disclosure. I could probably maybe count on, I probably did more than, I did maybe between 8 and 15 screenings in my life. I'm like, one is 3. Right? Shout out Beatles. what worked for me, I got a Titron scan TV screen, right? And as they're walking by, you ever seen one of these before? No, what is it? Oh, it's a way to measure heat in the neck, which is like indirect measurement of your nervous system. You want to check it out? I'm like, sure. I got a little form. It's name, email, or whatever, contact information. A couple check boxes. Do you have any of these?
Yeah.
6 basic things: headaches, neck aches, whatever, and then some digestive things. So it's kind of condition based, but whatever. It's not completely pain based. They check it off, whatever. Just now I do the thing, and I'm like, this might be related. It may or may not. Don't know. That's what we do. Check it out, and like, boom.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, very effective. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Well, 2 final questions to
Let's
wrap
go.
this up. I see all the books behind you.
Yeah.
So, what is, if you had to pick one book, what's one book
What's the one book
that you want that every chiropractor should read if they have not yet?
Can I do categories?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So
I love that.
I know.
I love that.
I'm totally going to
So-
cheat because I'm prepared for this. These are the 2 fundamental business books. These guys already know it. Book Yourself Solid by Michael Port. We just did a bunch of lessons from this. I just didn't tell you. So
Like a whole hour.
Yeah.
Like a whole hour.
And then this is the fundamental book. You actually start with this one. It's called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. The E-Myth Revisited. There is a chiropractic version, but I recommend this one first. And then you can read this, which is specifically for chiropractors. For metaphysics, I don't think I have one here. For metaphysics, there's 2. One is The Celestine Prophecy. You ever heard that book? Very, very great intro to metaphysics. And then this guy, I don't know if it's still available, but Unconditioned Spirit by Michael Mamas.
Okay.
Outstanding.
Nice.
Have you always been a reader? Like an active reader?
No, I don't read a lot. But I read a lot during chiropractic school and during business building phases.
Okay.
Fiction / philosophy / chiropractic. This isn't the book. This is its cousin. The Fountainhead. This is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. It's more popular, but I want you to read The Fountainhead because it's a chiropractic perspective. Tell you what it's about real quick. It's about this dude who's in a profession that he thinks has lost its way, and he's trying to bring it back to the roots of what it stands for. And all of the other people's architecture are ruining it. And this guy's bringing it back to the roots.
Okay.
Say no more, right? That's fiction. And then the last one that every chiropractor should read. This is David Serios 33. He's got a new one, 33 Gold. I wrote a chapter in it, so you got to read that. And this is not the book. This is by Fred Barges. It's called Are You the Doctor, Doctor? I want you to read Fred Barges' Life Without Fear. That one's at home. That's why I'm showing you this up. Write that down, babies. Write that down.
All right. And then one last question to wrap it up. If you had to pick, I'm sure you've thought of this, but what's the legacy that you want to leave within this profession when it's all said and done?
I don't actually think about that, which is kind of weird considering what I do. But yeah, very nice question. I don't want this profession to die, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm kind of worried that it is. BJ wrote about it. I don't think the profession's better off than it was in 1961 when he died. And you can see how fired up I am about it.
Yeah, that's contagious.
I'm trying. That's exactly what I'm trying to do.
rubbing off.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Yeah. So I really have no way of measuring that. I obviously won't know when I'm gone. But you know, that's that.
Just trying to leave the biggest impact you can.
Yeah.
I mean, the first day of history class in quarter 1 here in the fall of 25, we had Dr. Tayal here for history, and I know history can be. You kind of preface that at the beginning of class, like, oh, history, like, what are we learning this for? But you flip the mindset of that class, and it really made all of us think, okay, like, this is what all these people had to go through for this profession. Like, it must be super important. Then we have to do our due diligence of learning where all this came from. So I think you did a very good job of that. Our whole quarter.
It's up to us and up to the future students to figure it out now. Just keep pushing the profession forward and using, stuff like your teachings. And I think that's why we're always so super grateful for you and, wanting to learn more from you. It's just teachers that pour into us students. We realize that and we recognize it. So we appreciate it.
And I appreciate the enthusiasm. Otherwise, what's the point of all this, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything you need, boys. Anything you need.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on today.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
This is definitely not going to be the last time we have Dr. Tayal on here.
Nope.
If you want to hear him talk about anything else, just let Ethan and I know, or even him.
Yeah.
He'll reach out to us.
Yeah, leave any comments or shoot us a text or whatever, and hopefully we can get some more episodes going. Thank you guys. Have a good one.